The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's still morning here in Chicago, Illinois. It's about noon in Michigan. Thanks for joining us for our second virtual business luncheon today with Ralf Kimmel from the company TRUMPF. Ralf, you will have to tell me how you want that to be pronounced. Laser Technology Center based out of Plymouth, Michigan. As usual, some housekeeping right before we start. All participants in this meeting will be muted during the presentation. Whenever you have a question, please raise your hand or type your question into the dashboard where you see the questions. And we will answer those questions then right after Ralf's presentation. Ralf, I'm very happy that we have you here today. Also, congratulations on being elected as a new member of our board of directors, which is almost exactly 1 week now. For those who do not have had that information right now, Ralf has been elected as a new member of our board of directors, but also as a member of our, sorry, I got something in my throat, of our Michigan Advisory Committee. I'm very happy, Ralf, and I'm looking forward to working together with you on our board. We also have, and I just saw that in the list of attendees, our head of office, Markus Wirth, in the audience. Markus is head of our office in Michigan over there. Markus, would you like to say hi?
Yeah, sure. Hey, thank you, Mario, and thank you, Ralf, for taking the time today and share your experience in this virtual luncheon. That's definitely greatly appreciated. And I'm also very happy to see this growing number of attendees here on the right side, and especially that we have so many of our Michigan members with us today. So I'm going to keep it short from my side, just a few quick words. As you all know, we have 4 full-time staff here from the chamber in Michigan. Currently, we're all working from home, but of course, we're still here for you, and you can reach us at any time over the phone, over the email, whatever works best. A lot of you already have reached out to us with different questions relating to the current situation in the last weeks, and whatever it is you think we can help you with, please reach out. If we don't have the right answer, I'm sure we have someone in our network who can help you. And yeah, I said I keep it short. That's it from my side, and now I'm looking forward to listening to Ralf. Thank you.
Markus, thank you so much. To get us all in the mood and to get us started, and before we dive into the topic, my team, the membership team here at the German American Chamber of Commerce, has developed a poll, and I would like to get to know the participants and you a little better. Have a look at the polls down there, and we've got 3 quick questions, as easy as that. We've got 3 questions, some answers there. You please click. And I'm going to ask my team now, do we have the poll up and running?
Unmuted. Muted.
Yes, we do.
All righty, then let's have this. Let's do this. So, question number 1. What are you currently drinking? Well, I'm surprised that we're at 4% only. With something else, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, but I think coffee is first now and then followed by water. Sounds about right, because I got a coffee and a water here as well. Let's have a look at the second question. So what made you decide to join today's virtual business luncheon? And there we go. We're pressing right now. Interesting company speaker is leading. So Ralf, that puts a lot of pressure on you, I would assume.
Okay,
we'll see. My boss made me do it. All righty, thank you so much. And question number 3, before we dive into the topic and into Ralf's presentation. Have you ever joined a remote meeting in your PJs, in your home office, while eating breakfast, or from your bed? Well, at least there is some that actually ever joined a remote meeting from their bed, and I have to admit I did that too once. However, that was not official and not work related. Anyway, all right, thank you so much. Without further ado, I would like to dive into today's topic and would like to hand it over to Ralf. Ralf Kimmel, General Manager at TRUMPF, based out of Plymouth. Ralf, I'm handing it over to you right now, and I'm going to turn off my camera, so the show is yours.
Okay, so thank you very much. I'm submitting my screen now, and I hope that everybody can see me now and see the screen as well. So, is it working, and can you see my screen? Mario, probably.
Unmuted.
I can see your screen, yes.
Okay, so then I'm getting started. Thanks for the introduction, and thanks for having me today as a speaker in our luncheon. I would like to give you a brief introduction of the company TRUMPF as a long-term member of the chamber, but in our Midwest section, probably not that active in the past. And here in my role, I'm trying to intensify our cooperation a little bit together with the chamber, and to see which business opportunities we could develop out of being a member and doing this more intensive than we did it in the past. Our engagement is part of this idea, and also a participation in the apprenticeship program, which we started now 1.5 years ago, and other networking activities are already implemented and will follow soon. So let me talk today. I thought it's pretty interesting for many of you who don't know TRUMPF to get the company a little bit better to know. And also I would like to introduce a little bit what we are doing. I will not talk much about products or technology, which is at the end delivered to our customers here, but I think it could be pretty interesting to see a little bit what you could do with laser in industrial use. And then, of course, another huge portion in this presentation will be some comments from my side about our current business situation in this difficult environment. TRUMPF is a machine tool and laser manufacturer who is still family owned, Interesting if you see the size of the company, but we appreciate that a lot because it influences a lot the strategy of this company, which is a very long-term related strategy approach, not so interested in short-term winnings, but in a holistic and continuous improvement of our business. We have 2 business divisions. One is machine tools, mainly a division where we make solutions for sheet metal fabricators, and the other division is our laser technology division, where laser technology is developed and provided as a product on its own. What we try to be is a real holistic and comprehensive partner of our customers and guaranteeing, we say, innovation promise to our customers by staying close to the state of art and the edge of development and technology, so that we understand the need of our customers and provide the solution, the best solution which is possible in that moment. There are many subsidiaries of TRUMPF, so where industrial fabrication happens, we are there. The company size is a bit less than 4 billion euros, so in US dollars it's close to a bit more than those 4 billion. I would like to point out a remarkable number, which is our R&D quota with more than 10%, a relatively high number, which is mainly due to the reason that laser technology is still not, it is a mature technology, but on a fast turnover and on a fast development path. Two-thirds of our products are younger than 2 years, and this shows impressively that there are things really moving fast, and if you don't stay at the edge of these topics, the risk that competitors take over is getting high. So these two divisions, I already introduced them a little bit. This is an example of a 2D sheet cutting machine, and on the right side you see, let's call it the engine of that laser cutting machine, which is in that picture a true disc, a disc laser, a high power laser for cutting, which is used inside that machine to cut sheet metal parts. Laser technology, this is where I am located in my role, is dealing with all optical engines used in industrial environment to realize many applications, and it is possible to just get a optical engine from TRUMPF or to decide for a integrated turnkey system and then get the entire production equipment from our company. And lasers always come with optics and sensor systems. So if you want to provide a turnkey solution, a comprehensive approach, it is necessary to provide also the optics to realize your process. Let's have a closer look to North America and our presence there. TRUMPF has about 1,400 employees in North America, is located there since 50 years. 2019, we celebrated our 50th anniversary being in the United States. And over the time, we developed many different activities in this country. And it's not only a sales and service approach, we do have development and manufacturing in North America as well. It's even that most of our employees are working in development and manufacturing and do not work in, for example, sales. Of course, sales is an important topic, and servicing over the lifetime as well. This is where I'm currently sitting and where I'm located. This is our Michigan office. It's mainly a development center for laser applications. That's what is most of the use of the building. And it's also attached to a spare parts stock. And we try to be close to our automotive customers in Michigan here, where a lot of the business of laser division happens. It's about 60% of the laser division's business is done with automotive applications. To get to know better our North American sites, the North American headquarters of TRUMPF activity over all our business divisions is in Farmington, Connecticut, where we have manufacturing and development of sheet metal machines and punching tools. And then there's a second location which is closely related to machine tools, but also to many laser technology topics, which is Chicago, our smart factory. Probably you heard about this approach already in press and on the web. It's a location where we implemented a use case, let's call it that, a use case for connected production in the sense of Internet of Things, or in Europe we call it Industry 4.0. So how could connected machines work together and bring added value at the end with such a solution to our customers? And this location is 5 days a week in a real production situation. So we produce parts there, but of course it is a showcase as well. So visitors are welcome, and we do show what we implemented there to visitors and explain solutions which are available in the company. Other locations are then more sales, service related, like in Canada, or there are a couple of locations in Mexico where again many customers are. But we are also in California active, laser division, especially with semiconductor related and electronics related activities where laser is often used in production. And then in New Jersey, in Granbury, there's a development and manufacturing site for our laser diodes. This is an interesting detail because this is a semicon fab which produces chips. And these chips, they are used as our power module in our lasers. But this was a pretty tough story for the company to move again from being a machine tool maker into a high-tech company, I would say, having optical technologies, and then the next level to have a semicon fab. And TRUMPF is today, that's an interesting detail, the world's largest manufacturer of semiconductor high-power diode modules in terms of volume, which in terms of power, which we deliver out of this factory. So that was a quick introduction into the company, and I would like to take now time to talk a bit about laser and what you could do with a laser. And I don't explain too much what a laser is, but the fascinating thing for us is that, and here we have a passion for, is that we work with light as a tool. So we use light to influence material, to cut material, to weld material, to structure, to drill it. And the variety of applications is a huge one and goes over all industries. And I would like to give you an insight into that. What characterizes a laser is on this slide, and here's important to know that we are working force-free. So we do not have any mechanical interaction with the workpiece because it's light which does the job on the workpiece. And there's a small heat affected zone, so where something happens could be a real narrow zone which allows us, for example, to reduce distortion in workpieces coming from a heat input. Then we do not need any tools in operating a laser, a tool which is somehow geometry related, like you have it on stamping or banding or other technologies. We just program the tool, and then out of our tool laser and out of programming, we create then the geometry on our workpiece. So overall, it is relatively attractive in terms of flexibility and how you could implement it. But beside that, of course, we have to offer added value to our customers. And for example, in automotive environment, there's just counting productivity and at the end and what you can earn out of that. And that's why often lasers are used. At the end, we try to realize more productive solutions than they would have been possible with other technologies. That's the intention of lasers. So if you look now into the range of applications which is possible, then we can go from cutting to welding, brazing, drilling, but also microprocessing. Cutting of small parts is a standard with lasers. A lot of marking of each material is possible. plastic and glass is operated, and a relatively new business field is 3D printing, additive manufacturing with lasers, realized in many machine solutions, and we do 3D printing now also since a couple of years with turnkey solutions to our end customers. UV lithography, I will explain that a little bit later on, is probably currently the most fascinating application, even that it's used in a very specific industry for production of chips in the semiconductor industry, and then there are some scientific solutions. Growth markets and mega trends, I would call it, which influence our business are, and probably that's the most important for our US business as well, is all what is automotive related. And most actual automotive topics are development and now installations in electrified cars and the production of battery solutions. Customization is a huge topic to us. Like I mentioned, you could create an individual contour just by reprogramming a laser, and this is used wherever you need an individual unique mark or picture or a text on something, which is then created through a program but repeated on a high volume. Aerospace has a lot of applications of lasers, as well as satellite manufacturing, but the whole airplane industry is an important industry to us. Consumer electronics I mentioned, and the display manufacturing is probably not for US so important, but if you have a handheld device and you have a look onto it, all of them have high resolution displays, and in the manufacturing process of these high resolution displays, often in the modern times OLEDs, we have many laser processes which help to get these specific characteristics of those materials manufactured. Lightweight design, a huge topic related mainly to automotive. Design is also where lasers are used, so you realize design options which do offer you advantages, for example, being light at the end. If we talk about technology-driven applications, and here we are at state-of-the-art applications, then of course additive manufacturing is one topic where is currently a lot of happening. In additive, we see a lot of development starting in providing material in the right alloys and in the right dimensions, which is needed to print real used parts in serious production with laser technology, but also in e-mobility, especially the manufacturing of batteries. We see a lot of applications driven by laser technology. For example, copper weldings is a huge growth field here. And if we take a car like it is today, which is developed and reinvented to be an electrified car, there are many topics where solutions are requested, like for example the welding of coppers in the manufacturing of electric drives, which requires also new laser technology and was not possible with the technology which was available 2 years ago. But now having other lasers available, these weldings on copper parts are possible, and it's currently a unique situation because there are no other technologies who could cover these applications currently. We see also a lot of topics happening in lightweight design of cars and using sheet metal design in combination with laser manufacturing to realize lighter bodies of vehicles, which are then used, for example, for electric driven engines. There was a study which was done in Europe, in Germany, but it was not TRUMPF related or somehow financed. It was financed public and independently, and the outcome was a pretty interesting one. In this institute, in that program, it was investigated how laser welding is positioned with regard to its potential in evaluation to other technologies. And the outcome was a very interesting one, which we use, of course, to explain our technology. But overall, it was possible to use the energy consumption, the electrical energy, by approximately 40% using a laser. And material usage was also reduced by nearly 50%. This means to achieve similar behavior on your workpiece, it was possible by using laser to reduce material by 50%, which is at the end then, for example, weight reduction. And I have a couple of other examples where you see that lasers really can make a difference in finding the right designs and can replace production processes and to help then to get a less cost or less heavy part realized. But I don't want to bother you too much with technical details. I just wanted to give you a quick impression about what is currently, let's say, driving our business and driving the business on a volume scale. More interesting probably for you, and many of you probably don't know laser technology, is that we are active in a lot of niche applications, or in a lot of niches with applications, like, for example, cutting of stands. And this tube has a diameter of 1 millimeter. And if you see the structure which is cut on this tube and later on implemented in one of your veins, you can imagine that this is a real fine structure. Or if you look at this part, it's a pacemaker, which has all the electronics in it and is then at the end laser welded. So with a very dedicated energy input, so that you do not destroy the electronics in the inner side of this pacemaker. Or if we look into plastics or CFRP, we could easily cut CFP parts. The textile structure can be cut with high quality. So interesting here is that normally you use mechanical knives and shears to cut that, which have a lot of wear, which is not happening if you use light as a tool. There's no wear which happens to your tool. So this is currently also often used in automotive environment. Another fancy application is paint stripping, we call it. It's a cleaning process which is realized on airplanes. And you would wonder, is this really a business? It is really a business and relatively new. So I'm not allowed to show you real pictures. So that's why I just included some simulations and some pictures of trials which have been done now 2 years ago on sample parts. But the business case is the following. Each flying airplane has to be renovated and refurbished after approximately 10 years. The entire painting of the plane has to be normally grinded off and then to be renewed. And this uncoating of the old paint of the airplanes is now implemented more and more using laser technology. So real cool process, and the savings are here not only cost and the increase of productivity, it's also that there is no chemicals needed anymore. It's a zero pollution process, so no chemicals and no grinding material which is used here. But at the end of my application overview, I would like to show you a process which is probably currently the most advanced one. and used in semiconductor production. All cars and smart cities and machines, all that connectivity will require one thing. We see it, for example, in the 5G network implementation. It is computing power. And computing power, Moore's law, everybody knows that, needs development, doubling the capacity every 5 years of a computer chip, and extreme ultraviolet lithography is helping to get the next generation of chips manufactured. And I explain quickly what we are doing here. It's relatively simple. So there's a thin drop, which is sent through a drop generator into a vacuum. And then we recognize where this thin drop is located, and with a very strong laser beam, we shoot onto it. And we shoot 2 times to it. First time just to, let's call it, preheat it. And the second shot is then to really destroy it into a plasma. And by being destroyed, this thin drop sends out laser light of a very, very short wavelength. And with this very, very short wavelength, it is possible, if you collect it and guide it through your masks, and to realize a lithography process down to your wafer. So a single thin drop would not really be a solution. You need to have more of those thin drops, and that's why our droplet generator sends 50,000 of them in a second, 50,000 in a second, into this vacuum jumper. They are recognized, they are preheated, and then they are destroyed. So that's the process, and that's like such a laser looks like. So this is the status during our implementation in our manufacturing assembly setting into operation. This is the same machine then covered on the right side and then integrated by a third party. ASML is the turnkey solution provider here, who is using then this source in his turnkey system. So I thought a pretty fancy application, which is interesting to know. Let me ask, or if you have questions, I think we can come at the end of the presentation to that. And let me come now to some comments about our current business situation. And I try to find a balance to talk about a very individual description of our situations and not sharing too many company confidential information. But let me start with following situation. This is the Purchasing Managers Index. Most of you will know this very well. Status end of March. And we know the most recent versions where the drop in US economy and the European economy is even stronger than we see it here in the end of March graph. But what is for sure is that economy is slowing down currently. You know that, I don't have to repeat. And our discussion here, and that's why I brought this picture up, is what are we going to do in May and June and July? How do we behave in our measures? And do we already think of structural changes in the company? So do we think of making adaptations, for example, in capacities? Or do we try to survive this crisis with temporary measures, but keep our employees on board? And the big question is, do we see a V-shape like we probably see it currently happening in China? Or do we see a U-shape or even a L-shape and go into a long-term depression and economical crisis? So this is the discussion we have currently. And TRUMPF decided not to go with any structural changes currently. That's also the message to customers and employees. We help ourselves with temporary measures and about that I talked a little bit later. But most important is, the most important is that we reduce our capacity by approximately 30 to 40% using tools like PTO, which employees have to take on specific closing days, or temporarily furloughed people is also one of those tools which we're currently using. This slide shows now also known things to you, I guess, but it gives a good indication about the problems we are currently facing in those parts of the company which are still active. And this is that we have huge limitations to travel and work on site of customers, even that we would like to. We have a service team which is still active. We're still shipping parts. We're still shipping and installing machines and lasers. But there is no restaurant open anymore. There's no hotel open anymore. It's hard to find supply if a service technician or a team is on site. And it's difficult to travel. You know that. It's difficult to travel domestic and, of course, internationally. But even domestic flights are not available to all locations like normal. Or if you're flying into Michigan, even if it's domestic, you have to be on a 2 weeks quarantine. So we are driving by cars. And that's a ridiculous situation. If it's through entire America, we have to plan a day or two in advance, but our team is then driving in his own car. These are some insights into our KPIs, and I go through them quickly. For example, shipment of spare parts is a good indication of how operative are our customers, how operative is manufacturing in North America. And because of the fact that we deliver solutions over entire spread of industry, this is a relatively good indicator to us how active are our customers. And the need for spare part reached somehow a bottom line now, but is on a level of 40 to 50% what it is usually. The good side, 50% of the customers still are on a production level that they need parts like normal. So this is important to know, and we are asking currently, is this now the bottom line? So did we reach a stable level? And we think that this is really happening. We already get notice out of press and other information sources that many businesses will try to start again in May and recover, even that we have a stay-at-home orders or other limitations that manufacturing locations will start again. A pretty different picture we are facing in our development of customer projects or for customers and requested, mainly in our case, application development. And here we see an all-time high. And this is a not so easy to understand situation. In the first week or two of the downtime, we thought this is probably because of the reason that many of our customers are working from home and do clean up their desks and have time for future projects. But the trend still goes on and is even increasing now after 5 or 6 weeks having this situation. So it looks like that our customers did not stop in preparing themselves for the next step, which they will do. And they really invest money currently. So it's many of those application projects, they are ordered and then paid to us. And this is still happening. If we look into our order intake, and this is order intake of laser technology in North America, I left out the absolute numbers, but anyhow, you can see that the last 2 or 3 months have been pretty good months. So even orders are coming in, and we do not see a real drop in orders here in our facility. I can share that April will be weaker than March, so it's slowing down, and it will reach probably a level of about 70% of an average month in our company, but it's still not down to nothing or down to 20 or 30. Another interesting effect which we see is coming out of our sales team. The sales team is of course having difficulties to get to meetings on site and talk about projects to our customers. But it's also difficult to shift these meetings into a web meeting. This is not working well, and it's currently not well explained, but what is working really good is to get in a one-on-one interaction with our contacts, customers and companies out there. So getting customers on the phone and schedule a meeting on a one-on-one situation is stronger than ever. Why we don't get them into groups, into meetings? Probably this is part of the discussion, and some of you have an idea why this is not working in a level like I would expect it in this current time. So what are we doing? Decide, let's say, waiting that it's getting better and having all our employees working from home. We intensify and accelerate the use of remote and digital tools also towards our customers. And I brought with me a couple of examples for you showing how we're going to do that. One is that an app which is implemented since a couple of months is now used more and more, and we bring new applications to that. So software updates are happening on a, I would say, monthly or even weekly basis, so that our customers have more and more possibilities to interact with us in their location and for example, coordinate service missions and calls, analysis of machines, and maintain their manufacturing machine part using digital tools better than they have been able to do this in previous times. And one really important tool, which is also implemented since probably half a year in laser division, are our smart glasses. I brought with me one example, and I just show you how this looks like. It's a virtual reality glass which is weared around your head. So you're wearing this then later on like this here, and it is possible to interact with a service expert on the other side of the line. So we are using this, for example, a customer has a down situation. We cannot travel, but we can send the spare part to this customer. Then we ship a smart glass together with the spare part to our customer. And like on this picture on the left side, which is a real picture, the customer is then wearing these glasses and we can see what he sees. And then he gets a direct instruction of how to change, for example, a part on our machine. And this is not only that we talk to him, we can blend virtual interactions into his real picture with those smart glasses. The cost of such a smart glass installation is about $800. And if you evaluate that a machine which is down costs you 10,000 or 100,000 in an hour, this cost is really not a discussion that it makes sense to be invested. So even sometimes these glasses are thrown away after a mission, we still send them on cases like this. And another topic is that we moved our demonstrations of application, for example, into using the same tool, but on our side. So use these smart glasses and transmit information to our customers. And I have this here in an example. Our service technician, our application technician, he's working while an application is inserted into a machine. He talks to the customer who is at that moment live on the other side at his desk, and he can in real time see what our application engineer is doing. So we use the same technology, but vice versa. So then we are using the glasses and our customer just gets a web link. So it's a browser-based software. He doesn't have to dial in or install anything. So it's really easy to use. And then he sees what you see currently here in our short movie. So beside that, connectivity of machines is also, of course, a huge, huge topic. I mentioned that not only to connect with smart tools to interact with our technician, also to connect the machine itself is very, very important. And we are engaging our customers currently. If not done yet, please open your network and your gateways and make it possible to get machines and lasers connected so that we can do analysis on those machines in case of a failure or if something unexpected happens. It's even that we have statistics now that 50% of the downtime in your production can be avoided if predictive maintenance using those connectivity tools is implemented. That's an interesting figure which has real number behind it and which is a good experience for many of them who have been very cautious in giving access to their machines in their facility. But in these times, this is accelerating a lot. And let me finalize my presentation with some insights on our employees working from home, like in all the other companies, you're doing this as well. And I would like to share some experiences here. First of all, of course, we're doing remote meetings like hell. We use Skype, GoTo, and all that stuff. What turns out as an experience is it is so important in these times to also respect the relationship to your teams. We have employees sitting at home since weeks now. They do not have a family probably. They are on their own. And work teams are also part of their family. So to interact also on a social level is so important. And we had very good experiences by using, for example, Zoom as a software and making happy hours. And I made that now mandatory in my company here. In all the teams, the supervisors, once a week, half an hour, a happy hour is mandatory. And we have great stories happening here. Like, for example, a bartender. The supervisor was sending around a recipe for a drink, and he was dressed as a bartender. And together with his team, they mixed this drink together, everybody in his kitchen and he at home. And then they had a quick cheers together and a good talk and a good half an hour in talking to each other. But there is also an effect. If you want to coordinate your teams, if you want to dedicate tasks and manage your projects, and you're using the same tools like PowerPoint, Excel sheets, or planning tools like mind map or other project, for example, as a software, this is not really working well at the moment or in a situation when everybody is decentralized working from somewhere. So we replaced a lot of Excel sheets with web-based software tools, like, for example, Smartsheet or Confluence or SharePoint solutions. And the experience is really, really interesting on that. Using Smartsheet and having a multi-user access over your browser to Excel kind of sheets and managing your tasks or your projects in there works really, really good. And all these problems using and accessing a sheet which is normally for a single user is not existing there anymore. And the last comment, asynchronous communication has to be increased. Asynchronous means we are still calling our colleague, our employee, when we would like to interact with him. We send an email or we call. We do a Skype call. But it could be done better because this is distraction over the entire working day. And we like to move more to asynchronous communication, using chat and messengers functions, like, for example, WhatsApp or Yammer or OneNote, OneDrive, to interact and leave. So still in a short term, but leave our counterpart the decision, do I answer immediately or do I answer in 5 minutes? And this is helping a lot to reduce distractions happening over the entire day by permanently calling people. So that's it from my side. It took me a little bit too long, but I hope it was interesting for you. I hope it gave you some inspiration. And Mario, yes, I would say back to you for moderating some questions if they are there.
Thank you so much, Ralf. A lot of interesting stuff that you just brought up there. I would like to open it up now for questions. To the audience, raise your hand with the raise hand function or type your question into the question box. We will get it then. Sometimes it takes a little longer until we get it, so please bear with us. I have one, let me just pop it here. So far, I do not see a raised hand or a question. But Ralf, let me share that with you. We've got a comment, and the comment goes, loved it, such a great insight and sharing. So that's good, that's pretty good. I have Christine Meyer here with a question, and I would like to unmute Christine right now. Christine, can you hear us? You're unmuted right now.
Hi, this is Christine Meyer with Harding.
Hello, Christine.
Hi. What's your question?
Hi. My question is, I noticed that you mentioned that your team is using a lot of other applications like WhatsApp and things like that. How are you controlling the control of your intellectual property with employees then diverting to other applications outside your normal network?
Yeah, that's the discussion. The answer is clearly, if confidential information, if business-related information is exchanged, then we don't use WhatsApp or we don't use Zoom. These tools are used mainly to coordinate or to interact more also on a personal level. I give you 2 examples. If our service technicians, if we create a new case in our service team, then we create a WhatsApp user group which has all the participants in who have to be coordinated. And in this group, they do not exchange a solution like here's the drawing XYZ and replace part 1 by part 2. No, they just interact there, saying who is doing when what, so that they are updated. So for example, part is sent out, is shipped, part will arrive in 2 hours, please prepare yourself. Okay, who informs the customer, who is doing what? So this is done then on WhatsApp. But if a critical information has to be sent, then we do this with our secure tools inside our network then. And there are also tools available. For example, we are shifting WhatsApp communication currently into a tool which is called Yammer. I don't know if you know Yammer. This is probably the same thing. You can create groups there, and it's used on your smartphone, and it's inside your web, inside your network happening. And this will replace then WhatsApp in our company, but it will take another 1 or 2 months until we really have it active. It's the same appearance, but it is possible to protect all communication data in there. And then this problem will be gone.
Awesome. Ralf, we've got 2 more questions here. We've got Kevin Holland. And Kevin, I just unmuted you.
Unmuted.
Yeah, thank you. Excellent presentation, Mr. Kimmel. Very interesting. I'm curious if Trump has taken advantage of any of the emergent funding actions that the U.S. government has made available. For instance, the Main Street Loans Program or other payroll forgiveness.
We are looking closely into that permanently, and currently there is unfortunately not a lot what we can use. TRUMPF is not small enough to be eligible for some of the programs, and sometimes probably not big enough to be part of the huge discussion of the huge payments which government pays directly. No, we do not participate on those programs currently, but of course employees, like if an employee is furloughed, they have a lot of use out of improved programs, for example, unemployment payment, which increased in many states, and most of our employees are located in Connecticut, New Jersey, or Michigan, and in those states we have relatively good conditions for those furloughed employees. But the rest, no, there's not a lot we could participate.
Ralf, two more questions in here. Mike Freund. Mike, I just unmuted you.
Hello, Mike.
Sometimes might take a minute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mike. How's it going?
Okay, I'm doing all right. How are you?
Oh, good.
Good. Yeah, I appreciate the presentation. You know, we at VIRTUWL have a number of TRUMPF machines in our manufacturing plant, and I was very interested in the augmented reality glasses that you have as far as a troubleshooting tool, and I was just wondering how a customer can use that, whether there's a charge, whether there's just a simple acquisition and we dial in, or, you know, how do we take advantage of that service?
We use it, the use like it was before Corona was that there's a kind of a service contract needed then. So these glasses are rented out then to customers. First instruction is then done, and then we're using these glasses to support maintenance mainly. Now in Corona times, the things changed a little bit, and we do not require these contracts. We try to use the glasses to bridge a gap, which is currently that traveling is not always possible, and not all our customers do allow visits on site. So they even, for example, Bosch is producing, but they do not allow third parties to come to their plants. And in those cases, if a machine is down, we ship the glasses together with the spare part, and then the customer gets, there's an instruction sheet, and it's 6 steps to get it started. You don't have to install anything. Again, it's a web link where you give in some login data, you create a user, it's 6 steps, and then you are online with our service technician. And then the repair mission can start, and of course this is then at no cost for our customer.
Ralf, is there a contact at TRUMPF that Mike could, you know, turn to whenever he has more questions, like, you know, how as a customer can I get, you know, those augmented glasses, or, you know, whom do I have to contact?
Yeah, no problem. Of course, we have the contacts. I would recommend to reach out to me directly, and I will take care that this finds the right place then.
Perfect. Thank you so much. There is another question here. Let me just pull that one up. Where do I find it? Oh, yeah. Question from Jasmine Welter. Jasmine, I just unmuted you.
Hello, Jasmine.
Hi. First of all, thank you for that great presentation, very insightful. I was wondering how your employees are dealing with that new communication setup within your company. Do you have any positive feedback regarding the different measures you have incorporated there?
We do have a lot of feedback here, yes. And how shall I answer? It's not a picture that everybody is an enthusiastic wave, surfing and appreciating all these new changes. It was a challenge to get everybody started on the standard tools. In our company, everybody has a laptop, so this was not a problem, but to get Skype started, to get the equipment started, this was the first hurdle we had to bridge. This is now overcome, and it's okay. And all these new tools, they require know-how, they require training, and not everything is working well from the first moment. And here's sometimes also a little bit pain with it. So we implemented these Excel sheets and they didn't work properly in the beginning with Smartsheet. Or so then you're at home and IT is not accessible, yeah? And you don't get that started. And that sometimes ends with frustration. Overall, where it's working well, the feedback of the employees is very, very positive. The most positive is that we are moving more to this chat functions, using this intensively. And here I get a lot of appreciation that probably it's a bit more modern or it's a generation topic. I'm not sure about that, but it's appreciated that you get a text message from your GM and he's chatting with you a topic, and after 10 minutes it's done. Huh? So no email, no formal writing, dear Ralf, and so on. This is appreciated.
Awesome. Ralf, thank you so much. I don't see any more questions in the question box, and I think we answered all of them. There is one raised hand. Matthias Ostertag. Matthias, I just unmuted you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for the great presentation, first of all. I'm Matthias Ostertag from Fuchs Lubricants, and I was wondering which of these tools that you are using right now you think you will continue to use once we are through Corona?
All of them.
Good question. Oh, good question and fast answer.
All of them. It's already obvious, all of them. We will not go back to a situation like it was before. This is also clear. Of course, we will not have 100% of our employees in remote work and home offices. No, but I must explain probably a bit more. We already had a lot of work from home implemented, but more as a flexible tool for our employees. If you have children at home and there's a gap in the care situation of 2 hours, then often these colleagues, they went home, and then after taking care of the children, you start again working at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you work until 8. So this was already possible at TRUMPF, or is possible, but in this intensified way we didn't do it, and I'm sure that the level of working from home will be on a higher level after Corona than it was before. And that's why I think these tools, they are getting settled and they make sense. They bring us to a new level of cooperation. They make some things easier, and the smart tools in service, for example, for sure they will not go away again. So these advantages, they are even useful in normal times. In US, if you have a customer who is 1,000 miles away, you still have to fly and travel and ship the part and all that stuff. And if I can get better access to his machine by dialing in, seeing all sensors in that moment remotely, and also history to that, and then being able to probably analyze the problem immediately, will remain. And this is all for our future as well, what we do here.
Awesome. Ralf, we're running out of time right now, and I also see that there is no questions from the attendees anymore. Ralf, thank you so much for providing us with this very comprehensive overview, and also the solutions that you implement at your company over there. To the audience, please stay tuned. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, follow us on Facebook with the latest updates on our Business Luncheon series. Mark your calendars. The next one's going to happen on May 6th. And then on May 19 again. stay tuned for more information. And whenever you have a question, the presentation, I think, and the recording of that webinar will be shared. If I did not do a mistake right now, but yes, I think that's the case. Otherwise, I, am gonna have a really angry team right now if I promise too much. But I think that's what we agreed on. Yeah, okay. So thank you so much for participating, Ralf. Thank you so much for this very comprehensive and interesting overview that you provided. And see you soon at one of our next business luncheons. Thank you.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
Bye.